Anybody hungry? Boxing during dinner is next.
Stop! No.
You know what? Just come back to her.
Again.
Come back to her.
Again.
That's right. Boxing during dinner, episode
11.
11.
I'm as red as a solo cup.
David couldn't even do his hand gesture.
Oh, 11. 11.
All right, Armando Alvarez and
David Barry.
And yeah.
And something else at the bottom, allegedly. Oh, I was going to say he's the host and I'm the co-host.
Yeah, that's right. You are the co-host.
Well, whatever, I'll deal with it.
I'm the host.
Not so bad.
Well, this is Boxing During Dinner.
Episode 11.
Episode 11. And obviously, we're going to talk about who's feeding us today, and it's Publix once again. Again, I'm making a mess out of my sandwich because I do not know how to eat a sandwich.
Yeah.
David apparently does. He's almost done with his food.
Yeah, I've only got a nub left.
He cheated. He started eating before Boxing During Dinner.
Well, this is boxing towards the end of dinner.
That's messed up. And in case you're wondering who that lovely young lady was, that's Jessica.
Well, there she is again.
Lovely Jessica. And yeah, there she is again. I'm sure you guys are happy that we brought her. She's our first Boxing During Dinner model, and I'm sure she will be here many more times.
And here's the thing too, we didn't just bring her in for her good looks, although that's apparent, but she's also a fight fan, and she's going to talk to us
She is a boxing fan.
About the Wladimir Klitschko David Haye fight coming up.
Which is a huge fight coming up on Saturday. But first things first, we're going to talk about last week's fights. Yep. Ray Austin, I'm sorry. You put up a good fight.
Yeah.
You know, obviously at the end you got knocked out like I thought you would. but you know, you put up a better effort than I thought. Bermane Stiverne is no big deal. I mean, let's face it. He's not the next heavyweight champion of the world. He's not going to challenge the winner of Klitschko and Haye. Maybe.
No, he might challenge him, but
everybody challenges him for the title. But you know, he put up a good effort. And in the other fights, Tavares Cloud looked very good. And then there was the Devon Alexander Lucas Matthysse fight, which was a controversial fight in some circles. I thought Alexander won. I had a 95-94.
I thought Matthysse won 95-94.
But do you think it was the worst decision of all time, like some people are calling it?
No, definitely not. And I think it's people's normal reaction to want to overreact when they see a decision in another fighter's hometown. Of course, Matthysse, you know, traveling just outside of St. Louis for this fight, so people want to say, "Oh, he got robbed." Well, he didn't. It was a fight that he may have had there for the taking. He put in a good effort, but didn't. He himself said he needed to have a knockout in order to win that fight on the road, and he didn't.
Yeah, Alexander put up a good fight too. I mean, he boxed for the first few rounds. I thought he won the majority of the first rounds. I think I had it 5-1 after 6. Then I gave Matthysse the rest of the rounds except round 9. I thought the fight was pretty easy to score to some degree except for one round. But I thought Alexander did okay. Like he said, you know, his career might go to shit after this.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't impressed with Alexander. You know, he holds back a lot of his punches. Matthysse might get more fights out of this. He might come out being the winner in this fight, even though he lost.
Well, it's an interesting point too, because the news coming out today is that Devon Alexander is moving to 147 pounds and is challenging Paulie Malignaggi, which to me is a confession that I can't compete at 140 pounds in a loaded weight class, and I'm going to move up and fight somebody who, for all intents and purposes, a slick fighter, but is a has-been in the division. Well, typically at 140, but coming up to 147. But Paulie Malignaggi's best days are gone. Devon Alexander, yeah, you said it. He pulls back on his punches, and he is going to run into more people who don't respect his power and are just going to try to fight through him. So, you know, a lot of people you ask might think that Devon Alexander has actually lost all 3 of his last fights, depending on who you speak to. You know, you start with Kotelnik, which was a close fight in his hometown. He lost by TKO to Bradley, and then maybe now against Matthysse. So it'll be interesting to see if he can reinvent himself at 147, but I think we might have seen the best of Devon Alexander, and from now on he's going to be that very good, capable fighter who doesn't have the heart to go to the next level. And
also, Tavares Cloud is a guy that did very well for himself. You know, it was a close fight with Yusuf Mack, who, you know, I guess he's a pretty decent fighter. He put up a good fight. But Tavares Cloud did himself a favor by finishing how he finished that fight. He finished with that left hook. He threw some good combinations. He knocked him out. And Tavares Cloud is a guy that's going to make some noise in the division. I mean, he could either fight the winner of that 168 tournament. He could fight Lucien Boute. He could fight Bernard Hopkins. I mean, there's a lot of options for Tavares Cloud.
But the rumor at the moment is that he's going to fight Jean Pascal, who, as we know, just lost to
Hopefully
Bernard
not
Hopkins.
in Montreal.
Well, it seems to be the new hotbed for boxing in Canada. The Chad Dawson versus Bernard Hopkins unification bout, both of those guys are Americans. They're talking about fighting in Montreal to unify that fight. So it'll be interesting. They always manage to pack out the center in Montreal.
I'm surprised they didn't burn down their city when Pascal lost the fight. Sorry, Canadians, but that was pretty brutal.
You know, I'm going to make a prediction that the Tavares-Cloud-Jean Pascal fight would feature the two toughest looking fighters in all of boxing. Neither of those guys looks like someone you want to mess with.
Yeah, if I just walk outside the door and Jean Pascal's standing there, shit my pants.
I really would. That guy's horrifying. but it's,
you know, he lost to Bernard Hopkins, a 47-year-old, but a great 47-year-old.
Must have hurt your ego to get beaten up by a guy who could be your father.
Exactly.
But I like that fight a lot because Cloud and Pascal are not boxers. They are strictly brawlers.
Exactly. They're just gonna brawl.
And that's going to be a war for as long as it lasts.
They're just going to brawl. It'll be an exciting fight at the very least. And another fight this past weekend, not the Bermain Styron fight. Cornelius Bundridge successfully defended his title against Sekou Powell. Yeah. And I didn't see the fight since they didn't televise it, but apparently it was a pretty tough fight, and K9 came out on top. You know, the guy's getting better with each fight.
He is. You know, a lot of people kind of sleep on him because he's the lost guy in 154 pounds, but this is him avenging a loss from a little bit earlier in his career, and K9 gets the job done. I mean, his nickname's K9, and that probably leaves him as, you know, the butt of some jokes, especially because he was from the Contender, but the guy can fight.
How things change. I mean, a few years ago he was losing to Joao Julio by knockout. And now he has a title, and Joe Julio's like, you know, and somewhere in oblivion.
It's a really big bite.
Yeah. Do you want to choke, man? I'm boxing during dinner? I don't know the Heimlich maneuver.
No, well, I'm good. I don't want you to give it to me.
Jessica, do you know the Heimlich maneuver?
I do.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, in that case, I don't think I'm going to make it.
Well, before we talk about the David Haye Klitschko fight, which is the fight everybody wants to talk about, including Jessica, Nick Charles passed away this weekend. And I only have one Nick Charles story. It was a fight at the Hard Rock up in the Seminole. It was a showbox fight. I'm in the bathroom, you know, just doing my business.
Not a good start to the story, but keep going.
And Nick Charles is in the urinal right next to me, and he sees me, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going, buddy?" Like, maybe he had known me his whole life, and then we had like a 10-minute conversation outside the bathroom. We didn't stay inside the bathroom.
Which would have been a violation of protocol.
But, you know, Nick Charles, nice as can be, man. And, you know, I didn't know him like I did Gennaro, obviously. But, you know, great guy, and it sucks that the boxing world loses two very nice guys in less than a month.
From all accounts, Nick Charles is one of those guys that, you know, regardless of sport, it's just somebody that you were happy to know if you knew him. And boxing, you know, continues to lose some great people, unfortunately.
And if you haven't seen the Nick Charles interview with Mike Tyson, Tyson went to go visit him at his home like a month ago or something, and it was great. It was great. You want to see that because it humanizes Tyson so much. You definitely got to see that.
A lot of people say that interview was Tyson kind of apologizing for what they say is, you know, years ago when Tyson was his first fight out of prison against Peter McNeely, that he apparently just kind of blew off an interview with Nick Charles and felt that, you know, of course it's not the biggest wrong in Tyson's, you know, life or career, but he felt compelled to go and right a wrong, and so the interview is pretty interesting.
All right, David, but what people really want to watch and are interested in is the David Haye, and you know, David and David Haye, I'm sure you know, we know who he's going to pick.
Yep.
David Haye and Wladimir Klitschko. Yep. One of the biggest fights in heavyweight in the last few years, in the last 8 years.
You could also argue, not just with heavyweights, but this is one of the biggest fights in boxing, period. Maybe next to Mayweather-Pacquiao, the biggest fight that can be made.
So here to talk to us about the David Haye Wladimir Klitschko fight is the beautiful Jessica. We're going to bring her in, and we got her some dinner.
Yep. Why not?
Thank you, guys.
Got her some Black Forest ham sandwich.
What's that like?
From Publix.
Thank you.
So with Haye and Klitschko in mind, who do you think is going to win the fight?
Well, I like the fact that Haye is a fast fighter, but I like the Klitschko. He has a good jab, and he gets in and takes care of business.
So what do you think ultimately will win the fight?
I'm leaning towards Haye.
Leaning towards Haye. David, you know, your namesake, who do you think is going to win the fight?
I'm going to agree with Jessica. I made the comparison a little bit earlier with Ricardo Mayorga, who's always that big, you know, talker ahead of a fight, but never really had much to back it up. But David Haye is arguably at the peak of his career, says he's had his best training camp, and I'm here to believe it. He's got the speed that, like Jessica said, is given Klitschko problems in the past, and I think he can make adjustments that Klitschko might not be able to. And let's not also forget that Klitschko's 34, pushing 35. Father Time catches up at some point, and he might just eventually catch up to him against a fast fighter in David Haye.
I'm gonna have to disagree with both of you. Boo! Nobody wants to see the heavyweight division change more than I do. And the Klitschkos have been dominant for years. I want to see a change. I want it to go back to the time when Mike Tyson was fighting, Evander Holyfield, Alex Stewart, all those guys who were good fighters. Alex Stewart would have been a heavyweight champion right now. But with that said, Wladimir Klitschko has been dominating the division for years. I think he, like Jessica said, he has a great jab. He has a good right hand. He's a dominant fighter. Emmanuel Stewart and him have this game plan that they've been working on for years, and it works.
Yeah.
It's been working for them. Whether it's boring or whether he knocks out the guy, he's going to get it done. And I think this is going to be a case, like you said, of Ricardo Mayorga. David Haye talking all the trash in the world. He's the pretty guy in this fight. He's the model. He's the one the girls dig. But you know what?
Guys.
And some guys. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think Wladimir Klitschko is going to win, and he's going to retain the title. And I think the only thing that's left to do is for the two brothers to get in the ring.
No, they've shown the picture, because I think they've already done more than get in the ring together.
No, they got in the shower together. But
that's why the ring is just not hot enough for them.
That picture that you're seeing right now is a pretty awkward picture, because I don't think me and my brother, as grown men, as adults, because maybe as a little kid, but as grown men, naked together.
No, I'm pretty sure the cutoff for that is 3, which for them was both 34 plus years ago.
Exactly,
yeah.
But you know what? I guess they're comfortable enough to be brothers.
Comfortable enough to do that, but not comfortable enough to fight each other. So,
but how do you think the breakup will affect Wladimir Klitschko? Because Klitschko just broke up with Hayden Panettiere from Heroes. And, do you think it was the big height difference? Do you think it was the steel hammer?
Let's ask Jessica.
I don't know. I mean, do you think it'll affect them? Or?
Well, I'm hoping so, because I'm going for Haye, so hopefully it will affect them.
Yep.
How have the guys that you've dumped handled breakups?
Not very good.
No?
Yeah, what guy ever does that?
Especially if imagine her breaking up with you. Like, no! My life is over! Maybe David Haye was the cause of the breakup. Maybe he and Hayden Panettiere hooked up.
We're getting all TMZ, huh? Gossip during dinner.
And Klitschko's gonna take his head off. You know what? I picked Klitschko in 5 rounds.
5 rounds?
5 rounds. I think it's gonna be a devastating knockout. He's gonna knock this guy out cold. Because you know what? I don't think Wladimir Klitschko has been this focused, this motivated in a long time. This guy comes and talks trash, puts a t-shirt of a decapitated Wladimir and his brother after being in the shower together. So this will piss me off. If I have that kind of relationship with my brother that we shower together, I will knock somebody's head off for putting that t-shirt. So you know what?
We don't take
David Haye out. David Haye's gonna get knocked out. I don't know if you've been hit on by British and Ukrainian men, but who do you tend to lean towards?
Wow. No, I've never been hit on by either one that I'm aware of, but I would have to say...
Do you fancy me?
Do you fancy me?
Is it working?
As long as you don't wear a man back, I guess.
Notice Wladimir Klitschko sounds actually like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did you hear him talk?
He does.
David Haye, I'm going to destroy you. Jab. Knockout.
If you guys have comments for us, at Box During Dinner on Twitter, and you can write to us at boxingduringdinner@gmail.com, and you can tell us what you thought of Jessica.
Yeah.
Because this is the highlight of the show. You know what? You could see me and David and think we're cute and all, but you know what? More men watch this than women. So.
Exactly. And let's be honest too. When the thumbnail shows up on everybody's Facebook or whatever, and they see the thumbnail and it's her, they're gonna really want to tune in. I'm curious to see how high the views are.
So if people want to follow you on Twitter, where can they go?
Pro Model Miami. And I'm on the page as well with you guys.
That's right.
And a big shout out to Brendan Long, my boy from New York. He follows Boxing During Dinner, watches every single week. Told me on Friday that he was thrilled at the 10 episodes, and he's gonna keep watching. So Brendan,
we want to give one other final shout out to Frankie Ariola, who's a local boxing promoter, a friend of ours and a friend of Boxing During Dinner, and doing a lot of good things for fighting here in Miami. So thanks for being a supporter as well.
Ariola's a popular name in boxing and in life.
Yeah.
For some people.
And on that note.
on that note, Boxing During Dinner returns next week, the 4th of July edition.
The championship round.
Yeah, number 12. We'll see if we can bring some guests. If not, we can always have Jessica back.
Yeah,
I don't mind. So until next week.